The next lesson we're going to look at is these are all functions. So we know that every X input has only one output. But now we're going to compare whether they are linear or nonlinear, but they are all functions. So a linear function is a function that will make a straight line when it is graphed. And if you notice the word line here in linear, that's kind of your clue. It'll make a straight line when you graph it. And an equation is linear if it can be written, and we already know this form. So if we know the equation is written in this form, or just y equals, whoops, I didn't do the equal sign, or just y equals mx. So if it's proportional or not proportional, but if it's in this form where m is the slope, we know that, and b is the y-intercept, then you know it is going to be graphed linear. It's going to be a straight line. So a table is linear if it shows a constant rate of change throughout the entire table. So we're going to practice some of these. So these functions, which is a function is just an equation. And remember, they're all functions because we know x squared can be a function. So we're going to use this equation and fill out the graph or fill out the table, and then we're going to graph it. So when x is -2, we're going to put the -2 in here and solve it. So -2 times -2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so y would be 5. Okay, when x is -1, we have -1 times -1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. When x is 0, we have 0 squared and then plus 1, so that would be 1. And then when x is 1, 1 squared is 1, plus 1 is 2. And then when x is 2, 2 squared is 4, plus 1 is 5. And again, these are all functions. We're just trying to decide whether it would be linear or not linear. And so these are functions because 5 can repeat. We just can't have the x's repeat. And so when you go to graph these, we would have -2. So we go to -2 and go up to 5. And we're going to put a dot right here. Mine isn't very dark. And then we're going to go -1 and then up to 2. And we're going to put the dot there. And then we're going to go 0 and then up to 1 and put a dot here. Then we're going to go 1 and up to 2 and put a dot there. And then go 2 and up to 5 and put a dot here. And if you draw your line through those, which mine isn't going to be very pretty, okay, and then you will notice that that is not a straight line. So is it a function? No, it is not. And for one thing, you can write that it's not a straight line. I'm not going to write that with my finger, but you can write that. It's not a straight line. And then if we look at the table, it does not have a constant rate of change. And so if we do y minus y, so let's do like 5 minus 2 over 2 minus 1. So that would be 3 over 1. Okay, because I used those. If I try a different pair, if I use these two pairs, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 0 is 1. And so you notice it is not a constant rate of change every time we do it. And so two things, the graph is not straight and it doesn't have a constant rate of change. So if we go ahead and do the next one, we have to plug in -4 on the x. So you can use your calculator if you need to, but we have 1/2 times -4. And so that answer, hopefully some of you can do it without your calculator, but that answer would be -2. Okay, next one we have -2 times 1/2. So you go ahead and pause it and fill that rest out. Okay, so hopefully you got the same answers as I did. And then when you graph them, if you plug in, or if you graph -4, -2, it would be over -4 and down to -2. So it would be right here. And I need to switch that. It would be right here. And then -2, -1 would be right here. 0, 0, 2, 1, and then 4, 2. And you can see that this one is a straight line. And if you also do y minus y, so 2 minus 1 is 1. And then 4 minus 2 is 2, so we have 1/2. And if we compare it to this one, we have 1 minus 0 is 1, and 2 minus 0 is 2. So they have the same rate of change. So yes, this would be a linear function, and you can give those two reasons. It's a straight line, and it also has a constant rate of change. So what do you notice that's different about the functions? So take a minute and think about that. Okay, the thing that I noticed is the equation that is not linear has an exponent in it, where the other one does not. Okay, and if we turn it over on the back, I would like you to try these 3 for tomorrow and then stop there. Do not answer these questions. So remember, you have to plug in the -2. You have to do -2 times -2 times -2 and get that answer. And here you would have to do -4 times 1.5 and then add 2. And here, this is 12 divided by x, so it's 12 divided by 1, 12 divided by 2. So plug all those in and graph them, and then you decide whether it's a function or not and why.